Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a great day. Well, today is more maintenance for me. As you can see in the title of the video, it is oil change day. But as I've said in previous videos, it's not only oil change, but I changed the sub transmission. Even though Honda says it only needs to be done every 2 years, no matter what the mileage. It's a 1.27 quarts. Might as well do it while you're in here. So I've already gone ahead, I've gotten a head start to make this video just a little bit shorter. I have removed these skid plates. Let me show you those real quick. So behind me is the factory UTV skid plate. And that's the brand, factory UTV. So there's a bunch of different skid plate companies out there, but this is the one I went to. Let me show you why real quick. Do you see that large piece right there? That is your center section skid plate. Right here is the rear section, and if you've watched my videos in the past, I've taken the front off because I have a frame stiffener. The reason I chose this skid plate brand is right here. A lot of the other ones like Trail Armor, this section right here and the bottom are separate. So there's nothing wrong with that. You get a 5-piece set. It's much easier to install and uninstall or doing an oil change, but you know what? You only do it every 1,200 miles. So I just take it off, I clean it. I'm going to clean the underneath of the engine after the video, but let me go ahead and show you how we do this. So first thing you got to do is you got to go down and you got to get the oil from a dealership, order online, wherever you want to do. So here's what I've done. So I have 8 quarts of my oil. On this one I have 3 brand new crush washers. I have the oil filter, the transmission filter, and the 2 O-rings. So now to change oil is really simple. And it's easy, and you can save quite a bit of money in doing it. So let me go ahead and show you where the oil drain plugs are. A lot of people confuse this when they do this. So when you come under the vehicle, if you're looking up here at the front, this is your sub transmission. As you can see, I have a pink oil plug. Now that wasn't my idea, I saw it online, so I put a little nail polish on there last time. This is your sub transmission, your high and low range. And if you actually look, those people wondering, if you ever had to manually shift your transmission, I don't know if the camera's picking it up, it's right here. So this right here is the linkage to your shifter. So you got your park, reverse, neutral, drive, and low. So this is your sub transmission. If you don't plan on changing it, don't accidentally take that one off. Because if you come right back here, this is your oil pan. Now there's 2 drain bolts on the engine oil, your oil pan, and then if you come back here, here's the oil reservoir. So we're going to take all 3 of them off, but these 2 here are a 12 millimeter, where this one is a 17 millimeter. And then to do your filters, they're going to be right here. Here's your transmission filter and your engine oil filter. So make sure if you're doing the filters, you buy new O-rings, which I've already got. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead. I actually have 2 oil drain pans to try to make a smaller mess than possible. I'm going to drain the engine oil first. We'll get that all cleaned up and then we'll do the filters. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do the oil pan. Make sure you never use power tools when changing your oil. And that oil still looks halfway decent. So go ahead and drain that one first. Then we'll move on to the back one. Now that we got the first one pretty much drained, we're going to go ahead and do the reservoir. That oil looks just a tad bit dirtier. We're going to get rid of those. Pull out my drain plugs. Now while those 2 are drizzling out, I'm going to go ahead and do the sub transmission. Line this up. And that looks nice and clean also. This oil only has about 12 months on it. They say do it every 2 years, but you know what? Like I said, it's only a quart and a quarter, so you might as well just do it at the same time. It's always moving. Okay, once we get down to the strip like this, I'm going to take the oil plugs with the new crush washers, and I'm going to close everything up. And I'll spray that down with a little bit of parts cleaner just to get it cleaned up for now before I do the whole bottom. That way I can check easily for leaks. And I'll put the new crush washer on this one and tighten it up also. So now that I have all the engine oil drained, I'm gonna go ahead and change the 2 filters. And again, this is a really simple process. On your transmission filter, it's just these 2 bolts. On your engine, it's these 3 bolts. So let's go ahead and get those out. Go ahead and make sure you move your drain pan so that it drains down into there. First we'll do the transmission. So now when you pull this off, there's going to be a small spring and an O-ring. Take the cap out. Then to get this out, I'm just gonna take a pick. Just kinda, there we go. Set that down, and then we'll do the top. Make sure you're careful pulling these off because they are machine surfaces. Even though there is an O-ring, you shouldn't need much force. Take that off. So now let's spring here, and then the filter. So as you can see, I have everything removed, and this is pretty much the difference in the filters. But one thing I want you to notice is there's a rubber gasket on this side, and it says this side towards engine. I don't know if the camera's gonna show that. It's embossed in the metal. And this one says this side out, and then it says the spring goes in here. And again, hopefully the camera's showing that. And it says it on both of them. So I have the extra new O-rings. I'm gonna take this off, put the new one on, and it just goes back on in reverse order. So let's go ahead and get that done. Okay, now that everything has been wiped down, go ahead, we'll slide this on. Put the spring on. It's gonna sit right there in that little lip. And then carefully put the cover with the new O-ring on. As you can see, it says engine. And line that spring up in the center. And it'll just kind of click in. Just like that. And I'll put the bolts back in. And then the bottom one, same way. This will push it in. The spring. And then the cover with the new O-ring. Making sure we get the spring right in the center. Then we'll just tighten them down. So when you get all the oil changed out, you put the new O-rings, new filters in, you put the new crush washers on your drain plugs, tighten everything back up. Next thing I do is you have to add oil. So now we had 3 drain plugs, but there's only 2 places to add oil. Let me show you where it is. For a sub-transmission, it's going to be up here. And that's 1.27 quarts. And this one you add through the dipstick hole right here. So get your dipstick there, and you're going to add it through that hole. On the engine oil, you need to remove the 4 plastic rivets that hold this panel in, and you're going to fill it up here. Let me show you what I mean. There's no dipstick on this. The dipstick is on the driver's side, and I don't know if you can see it down there. We've got this little flap right here, and that's where the dipstick is. So you don't fill it up there, you fill it right here. So a complete oil and filter change on the engine is 6.1 quarts. For a sub-transmission, we just pull the dipstick out, put that down. Now this is 1.27 quarts. So after I've refilled all the oil, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get it up to operating temperature. I'll turn it off, and I'll check the dipsticks to make sure that the oil is at the correct level. If I need to top it off, I'll go ahead and do that. After you check all your oil levels, the last thing you need to do before you can button everything up is reset the maintenance binder. And that's pretty easy. So in order to reset it, you can go ahead, you're going to hold down the reset button and turn the key to the on position. Don't crank it. And you'll see a little wrench flash. There we go. So now if I scroll through, I have 600 miles to my maintenance too. So normally at this point, I would take all my oil to a local auto parts store and get it recycled. But before I do that, since I took the skid plate off to film this video, I'm going to clean the whole underside of the buggy real quick. Let's get my pressure washer out, a little degreaser, and spray it down. Nothing too intensive. You can save a lot of money by go ahead and changing your own oil. The basic oil change kit, I think I spent between 80 and 90 bucks. And that was for all the oil for the sub-transmission, the transmission, and the engine oil. Both filters, 3 crush washers, and the 2 O-rings. So don't forget to give me a big thumbs up if you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time.